So hello and welcome once again to New Junction. It may have been written in the stars. Hornby have released it. I have got it. The brand new LNER Class 91, 91118, the Fusiliers. Today I'm going to unbox it and give you my thoughts, and we'll see what's in the box. So here we go, the first unboxing for a long while. So it comes in the traditional Hornby packaging. Now this is very striking packaging, but Hornby's packaging is quite nice. Now if I just get this out of the box, we are then greeted with the traditional sort of ice cube plastic which holds the locomotive. Hopefully yours has arrived intact if you've ordered one. It's always a bit risky sometimes with mail. Now, the boring bit. Of course, you get your decency function decoder list. Now, of course, this is a brand new 21-pin decoder socket on board, so you will have to have a Hornby decoder. Now, I will stress, with the Hornby decoder, the lighting works with the Hornby 121-pin decoder out of the box, if you plug it in. If you use other makes of decoder, you will have to reprogram some CVs to make all the lights work as originally planned. More on that in a bit. You get your traditional instructions, as you'd imagine. Lots of gumph, particularly important if you want to add the buffer beam detail to your model. Now this is where I have a confession to make to you all. Because I have had this locomotive out of the box already, because it featured with me at the Stamford Model Railway show, and we had a brief run of it on West Coast Cement, the Hornby magazine cantinery based layout. We had to take it along. Now the first thing you notice when you pluck the locomotive out of the box is how weighty it is, particularly compared to the original. The original did just feel like a plastic model filled with air. Didn't have much weight to it, and it had the same characteristics. Now this model feels like a beefy model. If I take a look at some of the details on the side, now bearing in mind Hornby have completely retooled this model. The previous one is the same age as I am, and believe it or not, it's 33 years old. The first thing we notice front to back is the buffers, again completely overhauled, completely detailed. The bogie side frame detail, it's very nice. Obviously, as I'm holding it, it is dropped down a bit, but when it's on the layout, it's much better. Again, in reality, these are normally quite dirty, so there's lots of shiny plastic here, but once you get them weathered up, if you fancy weathering your model, that'll change everything. Livery application to this model, as you can see, is nice and crisp, as you'd expect from a factory model, which is particularly nice. I mean, I do say the LNER livery is a very nice livery. The For the Fallen version, much more detailed, far more things to get wrong, dare I say it. However, they've done a very good job of the other liveries. But the LNER and the GNER and Intercity versions do look particularly nice. Thoughts on the side here now. Although this is a moulded part, it would be nice to see the vents here with etched detail as opposed to just sort of moulded plastic. Now, it's not too much of an issue. I mean, this loco is rarely going to be stood still, and let's be honest, if you've got a full rake of coaches behind it, you're not really going to be paying attention once it's moving. But for the price point of £220-ish, it would have been nice to see that extra level of detail. Moving along, you can see the nameplate, the Fusiliers, is on the side. It does feel as though you probably could take that off without affecting the livery underneath. Don't hold me to that because I've not tried it, but if you wanted it to be something else, it'd probably be fairly simple to do that, in theory. You do, of course, get the brass nameplates in the accessory packet in the box as well, which is a very nice touch, and again an extra detail to complete your model. Now the underframe in the middle here, that's a particularly improved point on the original. I always remember the original having this detail and you could never see through the grills, which I found always disappointing. So it is really nice to finally have that detail in there. And to be honest, the Class 91 is quite a plain loco, really. So there's very few areas where they can add fine detail, but that's one of them. You've got all the various detail parts that shine through on the side. So now, of course, moving to the blunt end, it's a very 80s design, this. It looks its age, looks its period, and I found it quite intimidating when I was a small lad, watching these go through Newcastle Central. It's got a rather intimidating look, I feel, but I think that's part of the charm of them, if my camera will focus. Now initially when I got it out of the box I thought there was a bit of a moulding discrepancy just here with a gap, where in reality that gap is actually there on the prototype. So they have got it right, as you can see. And as you'll see, of course, as you'd expect, you've got your NEM socket with the tension lock coupling. There is also one on the front as well, underneath, which I'll show you there. It's actually just there if you can't see it. Oh, there's my finger. And it does allow you to run blunt end first. Now moving on to the front of the loco, the classic view of a Class 91. Of course this model doesn't disappoint. It looks like a 91, as it should. To be fair, the original looked like a 91, although they are slightly different shapes. This one I believe is slightly thinner. You do have posable buffers, and of course you have all the coupling detail represented. Now I suppose the negatives, not so much on the LNER version but more so on the Intercity version, the valance here isn't actually the shape of the body above. So there is a gap and it's only held in by 2 screws, so you can, if you knock it or if it's been knocked, get a slight gap just here on the model. Now looking close up, there is a gap on my one, however you can't see it at all because of the black valance here, so it's not a problem at all. And if it wasn't pointed out to me on forums, I'd never know. But it's just something to be aware of, particularly if you're going for the Intercity version. Now, one slight downside, of course, you get the coupling socket right at the front underneath there. Now, that's great. However, if I turn the loco, as you can see, refocus you in, it just stands proud of the actual valance down there, and there is actually a hole. Now Hornby, if you take that off, don't provide you with a plastic moulding fill piece, which I think is a tad disappointing, again for the price point. Ordinarily, I think it was the £170 mark, 160, £50 mark that these models were 2 years ago, a year ago, you wouldn't even question it. But now they're a premium price, again they're £220ish. You really need all the I's to be dotted and all the T's to be crossed. And that's just another point. And on the other variants, of course, the side lights, which aren't actually on this model, are the background is either silver or black or silver, where they should be the opposite. I can never remember. In actual fact, Hornby have modelled a real prototype. It's not wrong. It's just they've modelled one, and most people prefer the other. Something to look out for, but again, nothing a bit of paint couldn't sort. So I've come to the roof of the locomotive now, and as you can see, the detail is all there. You've got a nice grille here, and then some of the electrics details. Now, there is a pantograph, of course, and controversially, this is a plastic pantograph. I'm going to nail my colours to the wall here. I don't mind it being a plastic pantograph, because if you're running around, particularly under overhead catenary, and it gets snapped off, I'd rather the pantograph, which is cheaply and easily replaceable as it is, be the thing to get snapped off, than have a metal one which is stronger and would pull down expensive catenary, particularly at the prices of modern day catenary, as I've been looking into, ready for the layout as it goes ahead. So yeah, controversially, I'd rather have this one, just because it's quick and easy to replace. And again, once it's painted up, it's weathered, doesn't really matter. Now, the real feedback, should it have a plastic pantograph? Probably not for the price, to be honest. We're paying a premium price for this model, and I do think the pantograph is one of the special areas on a Class 91 that they really should have gone to town on. So I don't mind it being plastic, but it probably should have been metal. So all in all, as you can see, a rather fantastic looking model. It's bright, it runs really well, it hauls really well. As you can see, I've had it hauling the East Coast set of old, and that's the full rake, and it had no problem at all. I have seen on forums people saying that it won't go up hills, things like that, up inclines I should say. I've not been able to test that really, apart from my dodgy track work. However, I can't see why it wouldn't, because it's not run on traction tyres. It's got a solid 5-pole motor, 21 pin decoder. It's more than powerful enough. It probably weighs more than all the coaches do behind it combined. So it's a very solid loco. Would I buy another one? Yes. It's everything I wanted it to be. It's been a long wait for Hornby to redo it. There are pieces of the puzzle which I would change, such as the valance gap where the NEM socket is, things like that. And that's purely just because of the price point. But then, in fairness to Hornby, the price point is set because of world scenario, not necessarily because the model commands that price. And there we have it. So, another review hopefully completed. Now, you'll have to let me know in the comments below what you think of this model. Have you got one? Have you seen one? I certainly like it. It's definitely an improvement on the 33-year-old model. Now, as you can see, I've put it back in its box because I'm not ready for it, sadly. There is major work going on behind the camera, about to come onto this side of the layout, where the second level is about to come full loop. So you have to make sure you stay tuned, ready for the update, which will feature on the channel. Right, as ever, I want to say thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for being either a patron or a channel member. It is appreciated, and hopefully there'll be more of these models to come, and more of these channel-only videos to come. So, right, time to go and get on with more layout progress. So, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.